As a massage therapist for over 20 years now, I study and treat pain. One thing that I tell my students is that all chronic pain has an element of emotion to it. So, for example, even if you experienced a car accident and you have this very blunt force trauma to your body normally would have taken care of that and would have gone through the healing process. But if you're in a state of chronic pain, then your body is stuck. And that stuckness has feelings of protectiveness and worry and anxiety. It has a lot of fear to it. And so in this way, there are always emotions associated with chronic pain. I also often tell my students that a really great massage is a form of meditation. I didn't realize this until I went through my own extreme pain healing processes. And I didn't realize it until I had studied meditation. But as I work with clients and I help them feel the pain that they're experiencing in a safe way and in a way that brings awareness to it, I find that this pain diminishes. And it is much like meditation. There's a story that they tell at some of the meditation trainings I've been to. And it comes from Buddhist tradition. And it's the story of a king, and he had this beautiful castle, and he had this great social life, and he would have visitors from all over the kingdom, and everyone was welcome. He was benevolent. He was everything that you would want in a king. And he one day decided that he was bored, as is often the case with good kings. And so he said to his people, I would like to go on an adventure. And so he decided, I'm going off on this adventure. So he said goodbye to the cook, and he said goodbye to the bellman, and he said goodbye to the chambermaid, and he told them to take care of guests and to keep things running as they were in the kingdom, and to make this a place where everyone would feel safe and everyone would feel welcome. So they continued on, and the bellman kept greeting guests, and the chambermaid kept providing beautiful accommodations and taking care of guests' needs, and the cook continued making amazing meals until one day there was a knock on the castle door. And when the bellman opened the door, there was the most hideous, slimy, green monster. And the bellman was scared, and he was taken back. And he told the monster, you have to leave. You're not welcome here. And the monster just walked into the castle and insisted on staying. He smelled food in the kitchen, so he marched into the kitchen. And he said to the cook that he was going to eat the food. And then he began to eat the food. And the cook tried to pull the food away from him. And the more the cook tried to pull the food away from him, the more the monster gobbled down the food. And he began to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And while the bellman and the cook worried about what they would do about this giant, slimy, green monster that was taking over the castle, the chambermaid peeked in and saw the monster. And it scared her. So she decided that it didn't happen. That didn't happen. This is not here. This is not affecting me. This is not part of what could ever happen in our beautiful castle. So she disappeared into another wing of the castle, another corridor. And she stayed there and refused to go into that part of the castle. So this continued on for the remainder of the king's journey. And then finally he came home. And as he came home, he saw that the entire castle was in disarray. That it was dirty, that people weren't doing their jobs, that there was a feeling, a resonance of fear in the kingdom. So he walked into the castle, and the bellman greeted him and told him, like, Sire, there's a giant, scary, slimy green monster in our castle. And the king said, it's okay, I've got this. So the wise king. And he walked into the kitchen where the slimy green monster was, and he said, my friend, welcome. It's so good to see you here. And he said to the cook, please make the finest meal. We want to make our friend feel welcome. I haven't seen this friend for a very long time. And so the king sat down and he prepared the very best feast and ate with the slimy green monster. And he told the chambermaid to prepare the best room possible in the castle. And so she went to prepare a beautiful room and a beautiful space for the slimy green monster. And as the king sat there, and as he ate with the slimy green monster, and as he provided a supportive, loving environment for the slimy green monster began to shrink, smaller and smaller and smaller, until finally all that was left was a little boy. Hey, if frogs can turn into princes, we can do this with this story. So he was a little boy, and the king gently picked up the little boy, and he carried him upstairs, and he tucked him into bed, and the kingdom was no longer in fear, and everything went back to normal. So this is a metaphor for the way that we look at our emotions and go deeply into painful sensations in the body in meditation. But when you receive a massage, an assisted meditation, and you have the help of another person that is aware, that is using their mirror neurons, so I'll talk about that more later, but their ability to really use intuition and to almost merge with you and to have empathy and to feel what you're feeling in a safe way, then a lot of our problems simply dissipate.